Please welcome Dawn Fraser.
So, with the exception of a small minor run-in that I've had while babysitting a friend's suicidal hamster, I've always considered myself to be, an animal person. I'm the type of person, like, if you come up to me with your dog and he's really friendly, I let him lick my hand, so long as the licking doesn't get too close to my own tongue or anything like that, I'm totally fine with one of my friends' obsessive compulsive need to constantly post pictures of his dog Charlie on Facebook. I have no problem with these type of things. So I never really imagined that I would have any type of issues, especially when it came to our own family and our dog, Kingston. Now, Kingston is the perfect name for our Caribbean family. And, he's this cute little terrier, brown fur, and he has those pointy kind of antenna type of ears. And, I was really excited to meet him. So I came back to California from New York for a visit. And right when I got inside the house, he comes running down the stairs, and I was like, oh, that's right, my mom's dog. But as soon as I walk in the door, he comes and he nips me. And I was like, oh, Mom, does Kingston bite? And she said, Kingston bit you? Kingston, no. You don't bite Dawn, okay? You don't bite Dawn. Dawn is family, you don't bite her. I was like, damn right you don't bite me, you don't bite anybody. I mean, that was just weird. It was just so odd. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go sleep this off, But let me tell you, for that day, this dog had a vendetta out to get me. I didn't know what it was. And so, I would do little things, just normal, but every single time I'd come back home after a day or two, he'd be trying to get at me, trying to bite at me. And so I observed him one day, and I was like, okay, you know what, let me just see if he's doing this to other people. But he wasn't. I mean, my sister was coming in from Illinois, my cousins were coming in from Trinidad, my brother was coming in from Northern California. And at first, sure, he would get really agitated and run to the door, but then as soon as I got to the door, he would chill out. And I was the only person that he was really being really aggressive towards. And little by little, I started noticing that my mom was actually taking the dog side more than she would take my side. My nephew, for example, was not quite sharing the Xbox controller with my other nieces and nephews. And so I went to go grab the Xbox controller from him. Once again, Kingston comes up to me and bites me. And I'm like, what the heck? Mom, you've got to train this freaking dog. She's like, he bit you again? Kingston, come now, come, don't bite Dawn. Dawn, maybe you just did something to the dog. Huh? Kingston is a good dog. Look at him. He barks on the neighbors. He keeps us protected. I was like, Mom, we leave our car doors unlocked. We live in the suburbs. Who do you need protection from? It was making no type of sense. But not only that, but she would let the dog get away with so much crap. She would go to church for 3 hours or so and leave Kingston inside the house. And while she was gone, Kingston ripped into everything. I mean, he tore apart all these pillows and everything. And so my mom sends me this text. Lord, look what Kingston did to the house. And she would send me this picture with all these shreds everywhere, right? And then the next text. So I put him in time out. And, the dog would be just kind of chilling there, sitting on the windowsill, basking in the sun. And I was like, seriously, Mom? This is how you're gonna discipline the dog for tearing apart your pillows? It made no type of sense. And it was getting me so agitated because at nighttime, there would be a lot of us, there's a lot of us in my family. My dad's the eldest of 12, my mom was in the middle of 9. And so in the middle of the night, when I was trying to go to bed, Kingston would constantly growl. I would get up in the middle of the night from behind the door. I would go to the bathroom from underneath the pillows. I would just walk across the way. And it was driving me nuts because nobody could sleep in this household. And it was just too much. But the final straw came one day when I went to go greet one of my nieces. She was laying back in a sofa bed, and Kingston was kind of laid out on top of her chest. And I made sure to acknowledge Kingston. I was like, okay, he's there, And at this point in time, I had tried a lot of different things, let me tell you. I had taken this dog on walks. I had given this dog beef jerky. I was doing anything. I was just petting him whenever I could, right? But I went to make sure that Kingston was okay, and he was calm. I rubbed him. Okay, he's calm. And I go to lean down to give my niece a hug to say hi, and as I do this, Kingston lunges at me and bites my face, like a couple of centimeters right below my eye. And I was like, just like shocked. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and I turned, I'm like, am I bleeding? And my mom was like, oh Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. She knew that I was mad, and I could feel like the horns kind of like growing out of the side of my head, and my body was fuming. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and sure enough, there were these 3 slashes kind of going down this way and 2 going up this way. And I was so mad. I was like, I am either gonna kill this dog right now or I'm gonna beat the hell out of it. And sure enough, I took off my belt and I started wrapping it around my hand. And I started going after this dog. I was like, I'm going after this dog, I'm going to kill it. And of course, where does it go? In between my mom's legs, or right in between her legs, right? And I was like, Mom, you better move, you better move. And she's like, oh Lord. And Kingston's running back and forth, and I'm trying to get at him, I'm trying to get at him. And I'm like, ugh. So finally I just go to reach for him, and he like picks up his leg, and there's pisses everywhere. And I'm like, ugh. So now I'm more pissed because the dog pissed, which means I need to clean up his piss. And I'm just mad and furious. And so I'm just, so I run after him, I chase him into the laundry room, into this little tiny square spot, and finally I get him. I'm just like, I am sick of you biting me, you freaking dog! I just like started like lashing at him. I was like, you're acting like an animal! I was so, I know, right? Stupid. I was so infuriated. So finally, like after like, I don't know how long, I let him go, and I was like, you know what? I've had enough. I cannot deal with this anymore. I cannot be in this house. And so I pack up my bag, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go take off for a couple of days. This is insane. And so I do. I pack up my bag, I leave for a couple of days, and I go to visit my friend Chantal. Now, Chantal is one of my super duper zen friends, okay? This is California, so this is my super zen friend. And my nickname for her is Ba, because she's like the Buddha in like human form. And she also calls me Ba. And she's like, Dawn, what is the matter with you? And you know, I tell her the whole story. I tell her how I come in from New York, California, and my first incident with this dog, it bites me and it keeps biting me, and how like, you know, I can't get it to stop biting me and growling at me, and now I'm having to use children as buffers in order to like to protect myself. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And so I had to beat it because it bit me on the face. And you know, she was like, but why? Like, why did you spank it? I'm like, do you not see my face? Do you not see these slashes? How else am I going to get this point across to this dog? And she's like, no, Ba, that's not what I mean. I mean, you know, this is crazy. Like, look at the dog. He's only like this big, which means his heart is only like this big. You can't beat the dog like that. I mean, it's crazy. You're becoming so hard. You're becoming so mean. Like, what's going on with you? This isn't the Dawn that I know. You would have never done something like this. And as she was saying this, I could feel like the tears kind of like welling up in my eyes, because this is exactly what I feared. I didn't want to come to New York, become like the tough, rigid person that I was kind of afraid of becoming. I loved the fact that I was open and personable and kind of silly and really liked animals, and here I was like spanking this dog, and I just couldn't get it off of my mind. So in the middle of the night, while she was sleeping, I jump on Google and I'm like Googling things like, is it okay to spank a dog? And am I a cruel person for beating a dog with a belt? You know? And the only thing that was popping up on my Google search were like articles about Michael Vick. Okay? It was a bad scenario. So I was like sobbing, but I was pissed because my face was on fire and I had lashes and I was still bleeding. And I just felt so completely and utterly defeated. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, at this point in time, like, you know, I live in New York now. My mom lives in California, and how am I gonna get through to this dog? I don't have time that I can spend with it and walk with it, but every single time I see it, it just bites me. So I was just feeling defeated. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But when I did return home, I noticed that I got to the door, and oddly enough, instead of Kingston coming up and normally like hurrying at me, he just kind of like looked at me and ran off. It's like, huh, interesting. And so I kind of like followed him around to see if he's gonna do anything insane, and he's not. And I was like, come on, what's up with Kingston? He's acting kind of like normal, you know? It's kind of nice, but it's kind of odd. And she said, oh, I must have forgotten to tell you, huh? I got this coupon in the mail to get a dog neutered. I took him in, and now it just seems like he's acting kind of normal, right? And I was like, what? The entire time the dog wasn't neutered? I mean, I was thinking that it was me, that I was an evil karma person, or like, you know, that the dog needed to be trained, and that I needed to learn from Cesar Milan about how to do this correctly. When in reality, all that really needed to be done was to chop off the dog's balls. Thanks.